toilet smells bad, FYI.
What? I've never heard that dialogue in my life. Yoink them off as they edge? Shut the fuck up, man. You aren't even being subtle about it anymore, bro. You can't say that. Yoink them off as they edge? Brother. English was not the first language who ever approved that, or maybe they just don't care. Yoink them off. How am I gonna yoink these guys off, dude? The age-old question. Hey, can I ask you guys something for like some soft reassurance? When you guys saw those things in Elden Ring where they like teleport you to a little place and then you fight a boss, they're like flat circles on the ground. They're called Ever something. How did you guys pronounce those? Did you guys know that it was like a weird pronunciation? Don't fucking I can't me right now. Dude, I caught so much shit from Laws for not knowing that it was Everjail. I'm like, sorry, I didn't know I was hanging out with a fucking English major. It's the Penelope disaster all over again, man. It's crazy. I was basically just hanging out with my chat. You know what she said to me once? You know who you remind me of? That ginger twink from the Quarry. What the hell, man? You can't say that. Yeah, what? You make me sick. It was the Aussie guy. Come on, dude. I look like me. Have you ever thought that he looks like me? That he might bear a passing resemblance to me? Dude, I need a haircut so bad. No, don't cut it. I want to cut it a little bit. I'm gonna try and grow it out like this long, but my barber is so good, dude. Well, you know what the problem is with it being a good barber? Is that you're so good that you make less work for yourself. Like, he cuts my hair so well that 2 months later, it still has a good shape. It can look good day one, 20 days later, how does that shit look? So I'm like, I gotta go to this guy more just because he's so good. You know how I was telling you guys earlier that random security guard basically told me, hey bro, you should work out those shoulders more, and also you look like Cyclops, LMAO? That shit was not an isolated incident. I want you to know, okay? I want you to know that various times over my trip, people who were completely strange to me would say that I look like somebody. Like, I was going to pick up my partner badge at the fucking thing and I'm waiting in the line or whatever. I'm going to pick up my TwitchCon ticket. Some girl standing, never seen her before in my life, points at me, points at her hair and goes, Ludwig. What the fuck, man? You can't do that. I don't know you. It's crazy, man. It's like people I've never met before in my life. It's just American behavior. Yeah, so I was traveling with Law's dog. So many things about America were catching Laws off guard like crazy. Like, you know how people, greeters in America, are just like, hey, how's it going? We were at a shopping center and a guy said to me, hey, pal, good to see you again. People are talking to you like that in America. Laz was like, what the fuck was that guy's problem? She was so taken aback. She was like, what? What's his deal? She's just not used to people speaking out to you like they know you like that. Yeah, people in Cali especially, right? Yeah. She talked about that on stream. Yeah, we did a stream from the Airbnb. There were some moments where I was clearly just a guy being a dude, and Laws did not understand. Like, I went to the beach and I wanted to go in the water, and I walked in the water and then I saw these little bubbles in the sand. And I was like, that's weird. So I dug up some sand, bro. Because I was like, I want to see what's in there. And I found this weird little crab that I didn't know. I was like, is it going to fucking kill me? It's called a mole crab. They use their little antenna to filter the water. It keeps the water clean. They're really cute. But the beach sand, dude, if you go to the beach at Venice Beach and you look and you see that when the water rolls back over the sand, there will be fucking thousands of little dots. Underneath those dots are these guys. So I looked at his back end and I was like, this looks like a sea snail. He's going to inject me with a poison and I'm going to die. So I dropped him. And Laz was just chilling up further on the beach. And I went back on told her about digging up sand at the beach. And she just looked at me with this look, dude. I can only describe it as giving her the ick plus confusion. What? Wait, what? Why would you dig in the sand? Why would you do that? like, I was like, whoa, this is a real guys being dudes moment. And +2, you can't do that shit in Australia. There was like lots of fun moments like that. Or at the baseball game, they handed me a bobblehead, dude. I'll have to find it. I'll find it later. It's like a baseball player's bobblehead. And I took it and I was like, oh, hey, Laz, do you want to get one? And she looked at me like, why would I want one? I was like, dude, sick. They gave me a free bobblehead. She's like, why would you want to carry that around? You don't even like this team. I'm like, what are you talking about? Guys, if we get to 300 subs, I'm going to be doing Galaxy Gas on stream. Times are hard. I'm broke after TwitchCon. No, not dead ass. I'm joking. Don't do fucking inhalants. They're literally the worst form of drug ever. Don't do drugs in general as, you know, like whatever. But like, if you're going to do a drug, do one that doesn't fucking suck, man. Jesus. Richard, how could you forget the Galaxy Gas? Well, +2 that. First semester at real uni, just finished junior college. You know, one of those programs where you're selling cosmetics or like travel plans or something. And then you have people sign up under you. And you'd be like, hey man, like not only could I be your new friend, but I also have a great business opportunity. And then like 2 months later, Avon buys you like a Lexus or something. Yeah, join the Rocket League B team, actually, not the C team. I was the captain of the B team, I'll have you know. We lost in the second round of playoffs. What do athletes even do when they lose that early? They play golf. Like in hockey, if you lose and you don't make it to the playoffs, it's like golf season, boys. You know, it was an embarrassing part of the trip, having to explain to multiple Uber drivers what Twitch was. I felt like I was at a family gathering. They're like, so, what are you doing in San Diego? I'm like, TwitchCon. They're like, what's that? I'm like, oh, God, fuck. How do I explain my job in a way that doesn't make me sound insane? Moved back to uni, living off McDonald's and beer. Hey, have a salad for me tomorrow, okay? Or just like fucking eat like a multivitamin. I don't want you to get scurvy like that one guy who went to UBC and ate only chicken strips and then got scurvy. Yo, no worries, Adam Alars. Nice to meet you too. Yeah, sorry for when you came up to me initially and you were like, hey, I don't want to bother you or like be an asshole, and I interrupted you and said like you're being right now. And then you were just kind of in a stunned silence, and I just said, yeah, and walked away. I really appreciate you, you know, giving me time to cool off and coming back for a picture. Coming back for a picture. Guys, how do I see my viewer statistics? Oh, now hold on a second, brother. Wait a minute. Sheesh. That's a diverse-ass audience for video game speedrunning explanations, dude. Oh my God. It's basically a Pilates class in here. Let's go. Take that, Northern Lion. That clip of you hitting cutie is still on my mind, dude. Stop. It's gonna be like a memory I dredge up 2 years later. I didn't realize it was that bad. You made me watch it back in fucking crisp 1440p 60 frames a second. I saw it as like the fucking ESPN misplay of the week, dude. It was just good vibes. And I may or may not have accidentally struck cutie in the face. Never leaving my house again. One-upping NL on the misogynist allegations. Actually, I have 8.6% female viewership over the last 30 days. Therefore, I'm automatically an ally. Hey, you guys know how I just like say dumb shit sometimes on stream? Like when Alien Romulus came out, I was like, oh, like the shape? I'm not doing a bit. That's kind of like what just like where my brain went. One of the Lyft drivers was like, hey, where you from, man? He's like, oh, Virginia Beach. I'm like, oh, where's that at? And he looks at me, he's like, you know, like Virginia? You know, like the beach? I was like, okay. You're saying fuck me for? But he kind of owned me. I'm not going to lie. It's fair enough. I guess I could have assumed. It's just hard when you have places like Paris, Texas. Don't know if it was the block party or somewhere else. Our Uber driver was having a real struggle getting downtown. TwitchCon was going on at the same time as a baseball game. It was gridlock down there. And so he messages me and is like, hey, you know, I'm pretty stuck back here. I'm like, I'll walk up to you, brother. Don't even worry about it. I get in his car and he's like, sorry, guys. I just lost it a bit back there. I'm like, oh, no. No! He's gonna snap, man. And then I like kind of like laughed to try and diffuse the situation a little bit. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was crazy rough, you know? And he's like, yeah, no, it might sound comical, but it's really not all that funny. I'm like, oh, God. He starts muttering under his breath about the other drivers on the road. You know, I'm trying to be like, oh, hey, you know, it's been crazy busy. There's a baseball game going on at the same time, too. Little did I know, I springboarded him onto his rant. He's like, you know, people always tell me, oh, people going to the baseball game, they must be so excited. You must get a good tip. But you know what? That's some of the worst crowd. They never tip me. And I'm like, oh man, that really sucks. I'm like, genuinely at this point, I was like, that blows, man. If you're gonna take an Uber, it's a really cheap service that's been subsidized in a quadrillion different ways. Just tip your Uber drivers, right? But then it started getting a little more complicated. You know, some of these people, I go the extra mile for them. Just like I went for you guys, right? I waited for them. I didn't cancel the trip. I waited for this guy at the airport. I took his bag in. I did everything. And I dropped him off. You know what he gave me? $3. And I'm like, oh. In my head, I'm like, it must have been like a $40 trip from the airport. You gave him $3? Like, that's not great. And then he's like, yeah. I mean, it was like a $10 trip. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on a second here. That's not bad. And then he's like, and really, what even is $3? What's $5? Huh? Are you going to get to the rent at the end of the month and say, oh, I couldn't make it because I tipped, Gary, the Uber driver, an extra $5. Like, if you're just going to give me $5, I'd rather you just stiff me. And this guy was going off. And then these 3 kids start going across the crosswalk, and he sees them, and he's like, oh, come along, kids. He's like, don't worry, guys, you're good. And he was so nice that I thought he was being sarcastic. Then he's like, nah, I got 3 kids of my own. So when there's kids in traffic, I'm a little bit different. And you know how there's like predictive modeling in your head for where a conversation might go so that you are anticipating what the person's saying? It probably shouldn't do that, but that's how my brain works. In my head, the tree was like 95% plus expectation that the next sentence was going to be like, oh, let me tell you, I used to have those 3 kids, but paternal court and Linda divorced. In my head, I was like, oh boy, here we go. Anyways, he just like kept talking about tips and shit like that. And then he dropped us off in our neighborhood, right? Apparently Laws had said that someone else said the neighborhood wasn't great. When we were booking like Airbnbs and stuff, I had like kind of made fun of Laws because she had sent me some potential listings that were in Compton. Which, like, is really funny. But if you're from fucking Australia, like, what are you supposed to know? That's totally fair. I apparently picked a place that is basically the Compton of San Diego. Like, the Uber drivers that I asked were like, yeah, this is probably one of the worst neighborhoods. And I was like, oh. Somebody fought outside the Airbnb. It was really fucked up, actually. I wasn't there. I had just left Prezzo and Laws, and there was somebody like apparently like about to get into like a fist fight outside of it that like we didn't know, and they were like considering calling the cops, and I'm like, oh yeah, this was, I guess maybe the neighborhood wasn't the best.